let's talk about factoring. Whenever we find something that we need to factor, whether it's for solving or for simplifying things, we always ask ourselves, do they have something in common we can pull out? 3, 15, and 18 all have a 3 in common, and they also all have an r in common. So we're going to pull out 3r. So we're left with an r squared plus 5r minus a 6. Now that we've got that greatest common factor pulled out, we're going to factor this quadratic inside. And we're going to ask ourselves, what can we multiply to get a negative 6 and add to get a positive 5? And I'm going to say that would be a positive 6 times a negative 1. A positive 6 plus a negative 1 gives you that 5. And so your factors here are going to be x plus 6, x minus 1, and that 3r from before. So that is completely factored out, the polynomial there. What if they don't have something in common? What if you have a 2x squared minus 13x minus 7? Well, you're going to ask yourself, how do you multiply two numbers and get negative 7? Well, you can do a negative 7 times a 1, or you've got a 7 times a negative 1. Then you ask yourself the same thing about the first term, because when we FOIL, x and x get you x squared, 6 and negative 1 get you negative 6. So we can ask ourselves about the first and the last term. Well, how do you get 2x squared? You have a 2x, and then you have a plain x. So you've got some combinations that you need to try out. Either you're going to have a 2x minus 7, x plus 1, or you're going to have a 2x plus 1 and an x minus 7. And that's just using this first set of factors here. You can also use the second set of factors here. So it could be 2x plus 7, x minus 1, or 2x minus 1, x plus 7. One of these is going to get you back the original that you've gotten here, and so what you need to do is just check. FOIL. 2x squared, negative 7x, 2x minus 7. Well, this gets you a negative 5x, which is not a negative 13, so it can't be these factors. 2x squared plus x minus 14, x minus 7, because when we do 14, you get this one right there. This, x plus a negative 14, gives you a negative 13x. Here are our factors, and we didn't even have to check all of them. Now, sometimes when you factor, you have special cases. Take a look at 25x squared minus 4y squared. These are special cases. It's the difference of two things that have been squared. A 5 times a 5, and x times an x. We've taken 5x and we've squared it. And difference, because we have a subtraction sign, this is 2 times 2 and y times y, so a 2y squared. And the special case here is when you have two things that have been squared and they're being subtracted, your two factors are 5x minus 2y and 5x plus 2y. The plus and the minus cancel out those middle terms, which is why we don't see them in our original thing. Now notice there is a special case for cubes. There's actually a difference of two cubes and the sum of two cubes. Here we're dealing with the sum of two cubes. This is 5 times 5 times 5 and an x cubed, so really it's a 5x cubed. This is 4 times 4 times 4, so it's being added to a 4 cubed. And our special pattern here is to do a plus b, so 5x plus 4. And then you've got a squared, so 25x squared. Then you're going to do a times b, which in this case is 4 times 5x, or 20x. And then b squared, so 4 squared would be 16. And that's as simple as it gets. Now, sometimes you can factor this right here. Sometimes you can't. In this case, we can't.